Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard. Man, the season is here. Shout out to the gang, man, that was out here early, bright and early. I saw a couple of y'all was waiting. Y'all must have had the tab open, ready to go. Now you get to hear the voice of two of your best homies in the Giants and the Commanders community representing the NFC East, the best division in football. We got to get right to it, y'all. We got a couple of games to go over, including the Thursday night matchup between the Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I got some terrible news for my fantasy football team. Y'all already know my first-round draft pick was Travis Kelce, so I got to do some maneuvering. But without further ado, let me bring in the best co-host in the country, man. My brother from another mother, my Dukes one time. Mr. Beard, how you living today, my guy?
I am living spectacular. I'm living the dream. It's here. There's no more debates. There's no more, back and forth. It's all on the field now.
Definitely going to be some debates after this week, man. And I'm going to put this out there bright and early, and I'm going to be talking about this throughout the whole entire show. Make sure y'all pull up on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is going down on the Giant Overreaction. I'm not even going to let the kitty cat out the bag. When it comes out the bag, it's going to be a full Mike Tyson Tiger, I swear to God. Make sure that is a show that you do not miss, man. Beard, you ready to get into this? We got some folks already in the building.
Look, I'm ready. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody watching across all the platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. It's on and popping. The season starts now.
Ooh, man, I'm super excited, man, and I'm glad my New York Giants are going to end the weekend pretty much with the games and whatnot. We got this Thursday night matchup, man. We got a couple of NFC East matchups going on Sunday. I forget the Monday night matchup is actually the Jets versus somebody. I can't remember who they playing this week. Versus the Bills. That's going to be a great way to cap off this week one. But, man, let's get right to it, man. We're going to fly through these because we know that the Commanders game and the Giants game, we're going to have some in-depth analysis. So let's start this one off real, bright and early with this Philadelphia Eagles matchup. They're traveling to New England to take on the New England Patriots. All right, man, let's get right to it, man. Philadelphia Eagles, man, coming off a 14-3 season, man. Jalen Hurts was definitely balling out this past year. I really think they coulda, I'm not going to say shoulda, but they really could have won that Super Bowl. Kickoff in this one is at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time on CBS. The last meeting between the Patriots and the Eagles, the Patriots beat the Eagles 17-10. Surprisingly, that was in 2019. The Patriots have actually won 4 of the past 5 regular season meetings between these two teams, and I think that's kind of like the Carson Wentz era, leading into the Jalen Hurts era and whatnot. This will be the Eagles' first time playing in New England since 2015. Both teams have faced each other twice in the Super Bowl as well. 1 win apiece. We know how that went the last time with Nick Foles and whatnot. The Eagles come into the 2023 season with a new OC and a new DC as well. A lot of people are looking at that as maybe a possibility why they might fall off. You got offensive coordinator Brian Johnson, who was promoted from the quarterback coach for the Philadelphia Eagles when they lost Shane Steichen to the Colts. I'm really looking forward to see what Shane Steichen can do with Anthony Richardson this year as well. And defensive coordinator Sean Desai, who came over from the Seattle Seahawks. He was an associate defensive head coach in Seattle, which is an interesting title. But nonetheless, he finds himself in Philadelphia as the defensive coordinator this year with head coach Nick Sirianni. The Patriots will start by trying to stop Jalen Hurts. We know that's going to be the number one thing on the agenda for them. Jalen Hurts coming off a 14-1 season as a starter. He put up almost 400 yards by himself in that Super Bowl loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. He also, since 2021, Hurts has the second highest winning percentage of all quarterbacks, trailing one guy. You know who that one guy is?
Sam Howell. He's 1-0, 1,000%.
Sam Howell is 1-0. But that one guy is Mr. Patrick Mahomes himself. So him and Jalen Hurts definitely duking out that position as the number one winning percentage quarterback. I'm looking forward to scouting this game, because I get to look at the Patriots. They're going up against a pretty good defense. There's a lot of questions on the table here. I think for me, it's going to be what will DeAndre Swift bring to this Eagles offense? Swift had 2,878 yards from scrimmage and 25 touchdowns in 40 games with the Lions. He was a guy that I'm super surprised that they moved on from. And Philadelphia also brought in some reassurance from Seattle, not only with the defensive coordinator, but they brought in your bro, Rashard Penny, who has averaged 5.7 yards per carry over his career, which is it's super surprising to see that he has that high of an average, has dealt with some injuries and whatnot, but if he can stay healthy, I'm sure he'll be able to contribute to that backfield. I also think now that we know 100% that A.J. Brown is elite. He is an elite wide receiver in this league.
Absolutely.
And I think when the Eagles made the move, a lot of people were kind of like, oh, yeah, it's an upgrade, but they weren't looking at it like the Philadelphia Eagles were getting a elite wide receiver on the roster. Brown ranked 4th last year in the NFL with a career high and franchise record, which is very surprising. That franchise had Deshaun Jackson over there. He had 1,496 receiving yards. He had a career high 88 catches, and he tied a career high for himself with 11 touchdowns last season. I also have another question in the wide receiver, not in the wide receiver room, but not a negative one. I think Devonta Smith could be even better this year. Last year, he's coming off 95 receptions, 1,196. We know about that number because of your Commanders. Yards on the season and 7 touchdowns, which is exactly what the Beard is hoping that Jahan Dotson can do this year. It's just his second season, so I'd look for him to elevate. What are you looking for in this matchup? Those are the questions I want to see answered, but I want to know what you think about this matchup as well.
I think that's the theme of a lot of this week one is the questions I want to see answered. And I mean, and that's just going to go across the board, whether it's our teams or any team that we're looking at or scouting, like you mentioned. So there's going to be a lot of things. I mean, to me, the DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny duo is super fascinating because both of those guys, when on the field, are extremely productive. The big question is, can they stay on the field? And obviously, that's the question with every player in the NFL.
I didn't mention the injuries of Swift. Yeah. That's a good point you bring up.
Because he's had some injuries too, which is, I think, one of the reasons why they kind of moved on from him also. But to me, DeAndre Swift fits this offense so well. To go from a guy like Miles Sanders to DeAndre Swift, I feel like you're not going to miss a beat in that aspect. And I think to have, Rashad Penny kind of coming in that role behind DeAndre Swift, and they can kind of feed the hot hand, it's going to be interesting. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles miss a beat when it comes to their running game. The one thing that you brought up that I personally have kind of just, it's funny because I've been putting in so much hype into Eric Bieniemy, but I haven't really talked about how the Eagles are losing both of their coordinators. It's so difficult to think about it when these teams are in the Super Bowl or they're winning a lot of games. A lot of times, their coordinators are hot on, the coaching carousel or whatnot. So, but not all the time do they move on. So to lose both in the same season is going to be interesting to see how the Eagles adapt moving forward. So for me, that's going to be one of the biggest things I'm going to be looking for. Now,
a lot of Eagles fans are, very high on losing, actually, John Gannon. They for one, he came out this past week and he said he was at fault for the reason why they lost in the Super Bowl. He allowed over 31 points. I believe it was 31 points, actually, by the Kansas City Chiefs offense. You did have the defensive touchdown as well. But all the homies that I know from the Philly community, they're all like, yeah, peace. They don't even care about losing John Gannon. Offensively might be a different story with Shane Steichen, though.
Yeah, so that's going to be something to keep our eyes on. Defensively, I feel like they obviously got better. They got a lot of youth on that team in big positions. So I'm going to be interested to see how New England tries to attack them offensively because I personally am not a big believer in the New England Patriots this year. I read an article about Juju Smith-Schuster. They basically said that his knee can explode at any point.
I was seeing that. They was clowning that on Pat McAfee a little bit.
What does that even mean? Like, I don't even want to know what that feels like. Like, how do you go about playing football?
I got up the other day, man, and when I came up off the bed, I was like, damn, I was just laid down for too long. That knee kind of.
Yeah, there's some Rice Krispie treats every time I go up and down the stairs. A little snap, crackle, and pop here and there. But it's just, who else do they have?
Right.
I love Ramondre Stevenson, but you know how it is in New England with the running backs. They usually have a stable of guys. So now it's just like, what do we expect out of this New England Patriots offense? I'm not expecting much, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a big Mac guy. The Mac attack is not back jack sort of situation, but it's going to be interesting to see. Zeke Zeke. We haven't even talked about Zeke. What is Zeke? What is Zeke's role in this offense? That's a good
literally
question.
have that written down right here on my notes. I say, curious to see Zeke Elliott's role in this offense. I mean, last year, 12 touchdowns, though. He shows that when you get down to the red zone, he's a guy that can punch the ball in the end zone. He's also still one of the better blocking, pass blocking running backs in the NFL. So I think he can help Mac Jones in that department as well. 876 yards last year as a lead back. Not that great. He was splitting time with Tony Pollard, obviously. But, I think Zeke Elliott is going to have a role here. We know how New England does. It's normally 3 and 4 running backs, like you said. So, I do see him getting on the field and contributing to the offense.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of the things I think a lot of people are watching. Obviously, we talk about fantasy football here as well. If you guys don't know, we are live every Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Parlay. That's going to be something that we're going to have our eyes on. What is Zeke's role in this offense? But I also agree with you about Devonta Smith. I think Devonta Smith is a guy. There's so many wide receivers from that class, and over the last, I would say, 3 to 5 years in general, right? From 2018 all the way up till, we'll say 2022, because it's not as much hype in 2023, but I think that you're going to see a lot of these 2023 guys evolve into really good wide receivers. But I think it's going to be something to keep your eye out on, because Devonta Smith, they was talking about, because he was on your radar as a Giants fan that year.
Oh, man, at 11, I was like, we're about to get Devonta. I was getting all hype, and then it was like, the Eagles and the Cowboys have made a trade. I was like,
God.
oh, no.
How does that happen? Anyways, but listen, there were talks about him and his size and his physique. And I think he's put all that to rest, and it's still on his mind. I read a little bit about him the other day, and he was talking about how people were saying that about him. But I think there's such a dynamic duo between him and AJ Brown. They definitely still have some powerhouse at the tight end as far as that goes. Even though they
brought in Mike
Ertz
Gesicki too.
Year.
I know they paid 2 big tight ends. The previous year when they brought in Henry and then they brought in Jonnu Smith. I don't know where Jonnu went.
New England, yeah.
New England, yeah. So I'm looking forward to see how they run the 12 personnel as well. They're probably going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets. And it should be gritty football, But at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people are overlooking this one thing. Like, Mac Jones did not have a really good season last year, right? But to end the year in his final 5 games, he had 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. To me, that shows you a guy who can at least game manage and at least not mess up the bag, okay? Yeah. He might not be able to go out there and produce the bag, but he's not going to mess up the bag. So I think that he could keep them close in this game. But ultimately, I think that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are going to be a little bit too much. I think it'll start here defensively for the Patriots, though. Matt Judon. He's going to have to get to the quarterback. He's definitely a dog. 15.5 sacks last season. He had 12.5 the year before. So that's a great free agent signing pickup for the New England Patriots that they picked him up in 2021. Great pickup. I think he's going to have to find his way to get after the quarterback. He was giving Andrew Thomas problems, I remember, in the preseason a couple years ago, and people were looking at Andrew Thomas a little sideways, but they really should have been looking at Matt Judon like, okay, this is a real guy here. But I just think ultimately Jalen Hurts, too much for Mac Jones and the rest of them to be able to put up enough points Patriots-wise offensively. So I think I got to go with the Eagles in this one. I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. I got the Patriots probably winning this one by 10. I'm going to go 31-21 Patriots.
And just in case anybody was wondering,
Eagles. I'm sorry. I'm going to go 31-21 Eagles. Sorry about that.
Just in case anybody was wondering, the Eagles are 4-point favorites as of right now, which to me seems a little bit low.
On the road, though. Can't forget that.
Yeah, if I was to bet this game, I would be adding Philadelphia -4 in every single one of my parlays. The over-under in this game is 45 right now. I think we're going to get there. I'm going to go Philadelphia Eagles 27, New England Patriots 13.
27-13. Okay. I like it, man. All right, well, we got to fly. It's crazy because it's funny. I'm talking about the Eagles, so that's a great pun when I'm talking about we got to fly. But, we only got about a good hour here before we get to kickoff here for tonight's game against the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a really good one. I'm looking forward to kicking off the season. But let's get right to your Commanders here before we go talk about our Giants one time. And don't forget, stick around. We're going to be doing a trivia segment. We got an awesome trivia question tonight. We're going to be giving away 2 awesome cards here. And, Beard, you might have to have something on deck here in case a Philadelphia Eagles fan or a Dallas Cowboys fan wins this one. But we do have this Terry McLaurin card we're going to be giving away right. Let's get that over my eyes. That one right there, the prism from Terry McLaurin, or this signed Darius Slayton prism as well. So we got some nice gifts for y'all. Make sure you stick around for the trivia section tonight. Let's get right off into this Cardinals traveling here to Washington, D.C., to FedEx Field to take on the Beard's Commanders one time. All right, Beard, I got your theme music queued up. I'm going to try to not take too much of your time. I just want to talk a little bit about this game here. The Cardinals last year, 4-13. That don't even look right. My God, man. The Commanders were 8-1. They had that tie against my New York Giants. Washington is favored by 7 at home, so you could look at this as pretty much a double-digit favored game here for the Washington Commanders. It might be like that for the Cardinals all year long. Kickoff is Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox. The last meeting, Washington in 2020, the Cardinals beat Washington in 2020, 30-15. Whew, that's kind of crazy, but they ain't got the same kind of roster lined up here. But Washington has won its past 8 home games against the Arizona Cardinals. They're looking to make it 9 since 1999. Y'all know how to Beard like those 9. John Gannon is one of 3 coaches making his NFL head coaching debut in week 1. Ron Rivera enters his 4th season with Washington. And me, y'all know I've talked about this a bunch over here at Awthentik and The Beard. I feel that he's botched the quarterback position all 3 previous seasons with Washington. Now he's got another 4th chance here. We could say 10th chance because there's been so many quarterbacks on that carousel in Washington since he's been here. With 5th-round draft pick Sam Howell, he's going to be getting the start. And he's a big question entering week 1. And I don't think he's a big question because people think like he's going to be some trash or he's going to be some garbage, but it's just the unknown. He's only had a small sample size here where he played that 1 game against Dallas last year. He ran for a touchdown, threw for 2 in the air. He did have an interception in that game, and coach was definitely on him about it. It was a bonehead throw in the back left side of the end zone. But me and the Beard actually got to see Sam Howell at training camp this year, and I will continue to say this. That kid can spin the football. He can throw the ball very well. Now, when you get into an NFL regular season atmosphere, we don't know if the pressure is going to be too much for Sam Howell. This is going to be really his, first gig as the starter for real. Last year was like you coming in, not a lot of pressure on you. Now we know Sam Howell is the guy. He is the guy over there. And we saw that when we were at camp. They were treating him like a straight-up star. So many questions entering week 1 for the Washington Commanders here one time. I'm going to make sure I fade this out so when I get the roadmap for the Beard one time, we got a full-length instrumental for him. But I think some of the questions here are, can the offensive line hold up? Can Jahan Dotson hold it down with Terry McLaurin nursing that toe injury, dealing with turf toe? I saw you talking about this one today on your Twitter. Can Chase Young get back to his true form? I saw you debating with a homie who was saying, like, he's not interested in being a Washington Commander or whatnot. These people going along with their feelings. They're not going off the facts that are laid out there. I also want to know which running back is going to carry the workload. And Logan Thomas, we know Eric Bieniemy's style, they rely on the tight end a lot. And Logan Thomas is not Travis Kelce. We know that. But can he go out there and be an efficient tight end? We will see. And now we're going to bring y'all back to one of my favorite segments when it comes to Awthentik and the Beard. I love this segment with all of my heart right here because the Beard, he going to get behind the wheel one time and he's going to navigate us on this little road trip, and we're going to see what this roadmap looking like to victory for the Washington Commanders. For those of y'all that don't know, that's from the movie Clueless from the early 90s featuring Alicia Silverstone one time. That's one of my girl's favorite movies. But the Beard, I gave you the GPS. We downloaded the app. Waze sponsored it. Let me know about this roadmap for Washington Commanders. This should be an easy one, right?
So, listen, we got the map. We got the directions. We're plugged into the GPS. But this is the thing. In the first week of the season, when you look at the roadmap, right, it's not an A to B sort of, route. You gotta there's a stop. We gotta make some stops. So I'm planning. This roadmap is specifically about planning the stops along the way to the destination. That's where we're at with this roadmap. Okay. So I definitely have some things we're gonna have to do to get where we're going, because you gotta stop at the gas station to get some gas, right? But there are some things that I'm going to be looking at, and there are some things that I want to see happen. Pick up some roll-ups, maybe.
Yeah, some gum, some waters.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get some peach vibe in me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, look, one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is going to be a clean special teams. I just like the way it sounds.
Ooh, you started it off with clean special teams.
Listen, because we already know I'm not a big fan of Dax. I'm not a big fan of Dax Milne. He's not practicing right now.
Okay,
and guess
I thought you were
back?
talking about a quarterback, a fellow rival quarterback in the NFC East.
We're gonna save that for the next segment. But yes, we brought our boy back home. Welcome back, Mr. Jamison Crowder. There is a strong possibility that we see Jamison Crowder returning for the Washington Commanders week 1. So that's
Dax
something
Milne
I'm
made the roster. What about my man? What was his name?
Kaz. Nah.
Did he make the roster? He didn't. He's on the practice squad. So you got Milne and you got Crowder. Crowder's going to be part of that 53-man roster.
And listen, Crowder was signed to the practice squad, but Milne has not been practicing right now. So there is a strong possibility that we see some Jamison Crowder. So that's something I got my eyes on right now.
New York Giant as well.
Yes. And then obviously you want to see the kicking game working. You want to see, our guy Tress Way doing his thing. So like those things, I just want clean special teams. Because when you're going up against a team like the Arizona Cardinals, who's not necessarily supposed to be the juggernaut, they're basically looking at the worst team in the NFL. You don't want to have no mishaps. You don't want to give them any opportunities. Obviously, the biggest thing that I am looking at this season is the offensive line. Can the offensive line hold up? I want to have 0 sacks allowed. Can the Washington Commanders offensive line have 0 sacks allowed? That's a big thing for me, okay? Next up, we're going to talk about the defense. This defense has not been forcing turnovers, okay? So we drafted Forbes to do so. I'm going to need 2 forced turnovers in this game.
For a second, I thought you said 2 Forbes turnovers, but 2 forced turnovers.
Hey, listen,
I like it.
I'll take 2 Forbes, too. You know what I'm saying? Put me on the Forbes top 100 list. That's where I'm trying to be, okay? So listen,
they could use that when Forbes becomes a top 100 player in the NFL. That could be an
amazing
amazing
already know. I'm already ahead of it. It's on. The paperwork is off to the trademark office, okay? We're going to need 5 sacks. Okay? That interior defensive line between Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne last year, I want to say they put up a combined 20 sacks between the two of them, okay? We're looking at Montez Sweat. He's in a contract year. He's going to be hungry. Chase Young, we're still waiting to get the word if he is going to be cleared to play. If he's cleared to play, there is nothing more than I want, that I think most of this fan base wants, than to see Chase Young terrorize the Arizona Cardinals at home to a sold-out crowd, new ownership. The place would go bananas if that happened. So that's something I'm hoping for, I'm looking for. Obviously, Sam Howell, we want to keep our eyes on Sam Howell. Just clean. I want everything to be clean. Like, the car is a rental car for this road trip, okay?
Can't be doing too much.
Can't be doing too much. They've got to keep the rental car clean. If we have to stop and throw some quarters in and do a little vacuum, then we have to do that. But I want 0 turnovers from Sam Howell. You don't have to go out there and throw for 500 yards. Just 0 turnovers. The tight end, you talked about Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas, 0 injury designation going into this game, which is an absolutely beautiful thing.
And he's a giant. He's the biggest player on that roster. I swear he's a giant.
I am curious to see how the rotation of tight ends works in this game between Logan Thomas, John Bates, and Cole Turner. I'm kind of curious to see how Eric Bieniemy and how
who's number 2 on the depth chart? Is it Turner or is it Bates?
I think Bates is technically the number 2. But I know that there's a lot of hope amongst us Commanders fans that Cole Turner gets a more burn this year just because of his pure athleticism and his size, too. He's absolutely huge. I want to say he's probably taller than Logan Thomas, if I'm not mistaken.
When we were at the camp, you could just see Logan Thomas. It was like he was just towering everyone in that huddle, man.
And then most importantly, obviously, it wouldn't be a roadmap if we didn't talk about RTDB. Run the damn
I ain't even gonna
ball.
Lie. I forgot.
I want to see 120 rushing yards combined.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, right?
Quarterback included.
Hey, I mean, listen.
You see how I threw a little fork in the roadmap.
We'll take a dub from Sam. You know what I'm saying? And then 0 injuries, obviously. We want to get out of this game. Everybody intact. That's something that, you want to start the season off with. But game plan-wise, out the gate. We got to get it out the gate. That is one thing that we have been so bad at.
Yeah,
the way we start off. So I just want to see us get out to a nice, quick, fast start. I want to see that fast pace offense that we talked about. We talked about it. I want to say, which show were we on? We were on with Big Doug, the Big Doug show. We were talking about the chart and where Washington was and where Kansas City was. So I kind of want to see that sort of fast-paced play. That's something I'm definitely want to look in, and just seeing everyone involved. Like I am so high on Washington. I've been talking about all these weapons that Washington has. I want to see them all involved. Okay, so let's just get everybody warmed up. This should be a good cruising game, and if everything can kind of go the way that I have, arranged the stops, then the roadmap will lead to a victory. And
this will be a good get-right game for y'all, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Big shout-out to our guy, Bluegrass Picker, OG in the house for the $5 Super Chat, says, cheese! Thanks for being live, fellas. Thank you for being live with us live. We all
big
live
shout
together.
Out to Bluegrass, man. Be holding us down heavy in the comments, man. We appreciate all the support. And you're not even an NFC East fan, so that goes to show you that you just rock with us, man. We definitely appreciate that. And we got Waterfly in the building, too, man. What's going on, fam?
Oh, my guy, Waterfly. Here we go. Here we go, ladies. Listen, I'm going to have to get a sip really fast. All right. Waterfly with the $5 Super Chat. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time since we've done this. 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, Hi, Nikki, a Falcon. 999, 999, 999, 999, 999, 999. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Best
Big shout out to the
football.
homie Waterfly one time. And I saw a fantasy question in here, too, that I thought we should probably pull up. It was, let me scroll back just a little bit. Jahan Dotson or Brandon Ayuk, full PPR for the season.
For the season? Oh, listen, did you miss the prediction show? Going Jahan Dotson. He's going to give you like a whole lot of points at 99
1,196 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 99 receptions.
Oh, that's a stat line right there. Yeah, I'm going Jahan Dotson, breakout player of the year.
All right, so let's get to these scores one time real quick, man. For me, man, I think the Cardinals are going to be a little bit better than people are anticipating, and I don't mean in the win column. I just mean like they're going to fight. I think they're going to fight. They're going to remind me a lot of the Houston Texans from last year, and you saw how the Houston Texans played against the NFC East a bit last year when they played the Giants and when they played the Cowboys. They definitely gave us some fits. They had a good rushing attack as well. I don't know where the Cardinals are going to get the productivity from their offense. I really just don't know. Maybe Connor, maybe a little Hollywood. Maybe a little Zach.
He's been limited. Both of them have been limited this week at practice. Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz.
It's going to be really interesting. I think that the Commanders come out here, though, and they handle business. This is a great way to start the season for them. Like I said, it's going to be a pretty much a get-right type of game. You can try a lot of things with your offense, experiment, see what works, see what doesn't work. This is kind of like a scrimmage, when you just finish your two-a-days in high school. So I got to go with the Commanders in this one. They're going to start the year off 1-0. I would love to see an upset from the Cardinals, put you guys in the basement of the NFC East. That would be awesome. But I'm going to take the Commanders in this one. I don't think that, we talked about scoring and the points per game from the Commanders last year. They were at 18 points per game. The Beard is expecting them to jump up to around 21 this year. And I think they're going to get around that number, against the Cardinals here. I give you guys a good 24 points. I think that the Commanders kind of handle this one. It'll remind me a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles matchup against the Vikings last year, where you guys get an early lead in this one and kind of coast to a victory on the sidelines in the second half. Give me 24-7, Commanders.
Not too far off from that. I'm going to go ahead and drop a 30 burger out there, though. I'm going to go Commanders 30, Cardinals 10.
I like it. 30-10. Y'all come out. Remember last year, y'all was out the gate scoring points with Carson Wentz.
Jacksonville Jaguars. I was like, yeah, I told you. Came crashing down real quick.
Yeah, it was real bad. Like, why were we saying this was going to work? Like, it was crazy. All right, so we got both of us are picking the Washington Commanders. Both of us picking the Philadelphia Eagles. So we pretty much locked in. We'll see. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. We're going to the New York Giants game right after we do this trivia segment here. I ain't made the pick yet. I got all the notes. I'm going to hopefully convince myself one way or the other.
You know who's not taking the Eagles to win, though?
Mr.
Two-Toes in the building with with a $4.99 super chat says massive salutes to Big Boss Authentic, Beards, and all diehard Giants fans in America. Greetings from our entire team in Italy. All Giants fam, let's get it.
Let's get it. I like that. I don't imagine Tudo speaking like that, but I like that. Let's get it.
I mean,
That's
it's LES, right? I mean, that's
Tudo,
how I
man.
think I would say it. Let's get it.
That was almost like a Russell Wilson Broncos country. Let's ride. All right, y'all. We're going to take a short, quick commercial break, man. Again, make sure y'all pull up on Monday. On Friday, I'm actually going to be doing a show with Professor O, who's a Cowboys content creator as well. And I'm going to be on that panel with my homie, man, William Steele. That's going to be awesome. Make sure y'all pull up to that one. I'll make sure to put the link in the community on YouTube as well. But we're going to take this quick commercial break. We'll be right back with our trivia segment. So get your thinking caps ready, man. Somebody's going to win this, either this Terry McLaurin or this Darius Slayton card when we come back. I'm going to say for now, this is an overreaction.
Buried him in the turf with his chin wrapped around his nostrils. He calls a timeout. Good wherewithal by Eli.
Great wherewithal. Nick, put this to music. I don't think he stepped out either. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Love when Chris Collinsworth on that Odell catch, he says, put this to music. I love that.
Sure
That's a
thing,
great
you
way to
got it.
describe an awesome catch, man. But make sure y'all pull up on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a big show. I'm talking about a major, massive show, and I'm not going to let the cat out the bag yet. Make sure you pull up 1 p.m., set your calendars, put that notification bell on. If you're in the building right now, man, make sure you hit that like button. It'll definitely help us to get this stream out there in the YouTube algorithm and get some more eyes on this, man. We definitely trying to put our foot into this content like we do on a regular basis, 4 days a week, and maybe a couple little sprinkled in there. I've been telling the Beard, man, I'm like, man, I might just go live every day, man. We're going to see what's going on. But we're going to bring y'all to the favorite, a lot of people's favorite section of our show, man. We're going to give them some notes here one time, man.
I mean, you have to hit the music. Do you have it on the board?
Trivia time. Well. All right, Beard, go over the rules for our contestants so they know that we're not cheating, we're not doing nothing sketchy over here to try to lean our gifts towards some friends or anything like that. Shout out to the gang in the chat. Beard, we'll give them the rundown one time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Authentic and The Beard Trivia Time. We will be presenting you all with a trivia question. In the chat, you will provide the answer to the question. Now, remember, it may look different on your end than what we see on our end. So in order to be fair, we have to go by who we see first in our chat. And the winner will receive their choice of a Terry McLaurin or Darius Slayton card. If you are a Cowboys fan or an Eagles fan, don't feel left out. We got something for you too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for partaking in Trivia Time.
All right, man. Shout out to Beard. I love the way you introduced that. It's like you've been doing this on The Price is Right for years, man. All right, let's get right to it, y'all. Get your thinking caps on. This question is going to be directed towards our NFC lovers. That's going to be the one hint I give y'all. Today's trivia question is, let me make this a little bit larger. Graphics shrunk down a little bit so we can show our pretty faces on this stream. With 53 more passing yards on Sunday, this quarterback can become the second player in NFL history to reach 25,000 passing yards and 1,500 rushing yards in their first 100 games. The Beard doesn't even know the answer to this.
No,
I'm going to
I
put this in the private chat for you. This way we can look out for our
I
winner.
think I have an idea who it is. I want to see if I'm right.
Oh, Ray has questions about the jersey. This is a Harry Carson jersey with the spider patch on there, man, one time. This is from Carl Lockhart, who passed away in the 86 season, former New York Giant. And my man Cernock Connection blessed me with this. This jersey is from 86. This hat is damn near from 86. I got another one that the Beard blessed me with back here, a Super Bowl hat for the New York Giants as well. So, man, we got the vintage threads, man. And if you ever need a plug on some vintage threads, holler at the Beard or holler at my homie Cernock's Connection. We'll link you on Twitter. You could just reach out to us one time. And I do see the correct answer in here already.
I do too.
Go ahead and tell me who you think it is first.
Okay.
Shout out my homie Michael Knight one time in the building. Michael Knight. Yeah, this is awesome. So let's go over the answer first before we reveal our winner. With 53 more passing yards, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, I know that surprised you, The Beard. I saw your face when you read the chat.
I thought it was Russell Wilson.
Can become the second player in NFL history to reach 25,000 passing yards and 1,500 rushing yards in his first 100 games. I tell you what, since we got two cards out here and I see the winner is not a New York Giants fan or a Commanders fan, I'll give you guys a bonus question. If you can guess who the other quarterback is, the one quarterback that was the only person in NFL history to get to 1,500 rushing yards and 25,000 passing yards in his first 100 games, and he's still an active quarterback, we got a gift for you as well. So we just giving out prizes left and right. And let me tell the Beard who that is one time, and then we'll just keep this one pushing.
And then we will tell you guys who the winner is for question 1 immediately following.
All right. So our winner for the first question, the Dak Prescott answer, and rightfully so, it's our homegirl Monique, who is a Cowboys fan. So big shout out to Monique one time in the building. She's going to win a Dallas Cowboys prize. The Beard just looking like he don't even like that. He's like, oh, man, now I got to give up my goods to Monique. What's going on here?
No. I'm flabbergasted at these two answers. It's not what I was
All right,
thinking.
let me see who we got. Who you got? Type to me who you got first for the second portion of this trivia question, and I'll confirm. Waiting on the Beard to confirm this one time.
Going down, there's a lot of answers here.
Shout out to Monique one time in the building for getting that dub on this one. She know her team. That's what's good. She knows her team. She's been studying her squad one time. It was in my nuggets, and then I was like, let me just use it as the trivia one time.
Oh God, here we go. Where are we at? Why is this doing this to me? Okay, there it is. I got it. Okay, here we go. This was who I have.
Yes, sir. I believe that's who I got too. Let me just confirm.
They already know they won too. They telling us, they said, let it be known that I am a Giants fan.
Oh, that's what's up. Shout out to the homie Kevin Gill. If you got the comment highlighted on the screen for me, the Beard, he won the second half of this one, and he is a Giants fan, so I take it he's going to take that beautiful, beautiful signed Darius Slayton right there. Now, y'all know, just reach out to us on Twitter, or you can email us at Awthentik at allornothingstudios with an S at the end of it.com. We'll make sure to get that shipped out to the winners there. Shout out to Monique. Shout out to Kevin Gill for winning the first trivia segment of the year. Week 1, we're going to be giving away a prize every week, courtesy of Over the Years Sports. That is the Beard's company. He's going to be sponsoring all these gifts. And he also told me he got some homies in the community that's going to be sponsoring some amazing, amazing gifts coming up. So Eagles fans, that was the one that the Beard told me about earlier. Make sure y'all tune in next week and the following. We're going to have some great Eagle stuff to give away as well, too. So, Beard, we didn't go over one quick little thing about your Washington Commanders game.
Oh, yes. And before we even do that, let's give a big shout-out to Chris Peace. Once again, congratulations on the wedding. For the $1.99 Super Chat, says, me and the Mrs. Peace are ready for trivia tonight.
My G.
We appreciate you. All the love.
Hey, Chris
going
Peace
out.
came out. He had a wedding on the beach. And he came out, and when they, had him walk out, he did the sexy Dexy dance on his way out. I thought that was so gangster. The video's on his Twitter as well too. So definitely check that out. And just before we go into the New York Giants game, this was something that we wanted to do here, and I really wish I had enough time to pull this up as a poll in the chat for you guys. But just spam your answers here if you feel like you're going to take the over or the under on this one. Let me see. It looks like StreamYard kind of bojangled on me, so just give me 2 seconds. I'll get that up here. Thank God for the organization that I use for all these graphics because, man, I was telling my girl this the other day. It is a shit show with how much stuff is in my brain that we have to use for these shows and whatnot. But this one is going to be an over-under that the Beard brought up with Jahan Dotson because the Beard thinks that Jahan Dotson is going to go for 1,196 yards this year, which on average would be about 70 yards per game. So let me know how y'all feel about this one. Jahan Dotson, over or under 70.5 receiving yards. See, I tried to bump it up one more yard to try to make things a little bit more difficult on you. Let me know how y'all feeling in the chat, and we'll get right into this Giants game as we do that. And man, I got a ton to go over for this game. We got about a good 45 minutes ish before we get to kick off. I think we got enough time to be able to get this all out. And I definitely want to get the Beard's little baby roadmap too. You know, I'm riding shotgun with the Beard. I want to get the roadmap one time, but let's go off into this Cowboys heading to MetLife to take on the New York Giants.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, man, let's get this popping one time, man. This is the game that I've been waiting to talk about I've been waiting to talk about this game all off season. I'm so glad to just be back and be able to talk about these previews, because I think this is the most interesting part about talking about these games, because these are our predictions. These are the things that we are hoping or that we think are going to happen in these games. And, man, I got a lot to talk about with this Dallas Cowboys game. So the Cowboys, they finished the year last year at 12-5 for the second straight time. The Giants finished at 9-7-1. I was hoping to get a playoff matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, but unfortunately, they ended up taking on the San Francisco 49ers in the second round after taking on the Bucs, and ended up losing that game, and the Giants ended up getting dog-walked by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the over-under in this one is 46.5. The Dallas Cowboys are favored by 3 points, even though this game is at MetLife. Kickoff is at 8:20 Sunday night. What a way to end the weekend games. The Cowboys lead the series record here, 48-2 over the New York Giants. And the last meeting, the Cowboys beat the Giants 28-20 on November 24th, 2022. That game was in Jerry World. Now, for the seventh time in the last 12 seasons, the New York Giants will start the season versus the Dallas Cowboys. This is a thing. I don't really like doing this to start the year off, having a tough divisional opponent come to MetLife, but it is what it is. The Dallas Cowboys are 10-1 versus the Giants in season openers all time. So we're trying to break some bad juju going on here. I ain't talking about the explosive kneecaps from Juju Smith-Schuster, but we're trying to fix this and right this ship in the right direction. The Cowboys have won 4 straight and 11 of the past 12 matchups versus the New York Giants. Dak Prescott is on a 10-game winning streak versus the Giants. Last time the Giants welcomed Dallas to MetLife, Cooper Rush ended up leading the Cowboys to a victory 23-16. So it's not just Dak Prescott. I heard Michael Irvin talking about this on the new Undisputed show, and he was saying, like, I used to just be able to suit up against Washington. It did not matter who was out there on the field to me. I didn't care if it was Darryl Green, Gary Clark, whatever, whoever we were playing against. I knew I had the edge against the Washington Redskins, formerly known as the Redskins, now known as the Commanders. And I kind of feel like Dak Prescott's probably approaching this game with the same kind of fashion, because he has owned the New York Giants. And not only has he owned the New York Giants, he's owned the NFC East in general. He's 27-7 against the NFC East in his career. It's also been 27 seasons since the Cowboys have been to the Super Bowl, so they're looking to kind of change that kind of history as well. It's been a really long time. We were children. Now, the Giants were 1-4-1 against the division last year, and we were an underdog by 3 points or more 12 times last season. We ended up winning the 7 games by 1 score. I don't think that the Giants are going to be able to win games in that fashion this year. You're going to have to really go out there and truly handle business. I think that the Minnesota Vikings are in the same kind of a boat, and they even had more games won by 1 score than we did. They had 11 wins by 1 score, so I think that they're going to have to find a way to do that too. Now, I want to talk about these defenses real quick, because the main matchup for me is going to be Evan Neal versus DeMarcus Lawrence again. For those of y'all that watched that last game, DeMarcus Lawrence, and I'm talking him when I say that, he literally owned my man Evan Neal both times in that game, both times in that season. Neal gave up 3 sacks in the last matchup. He allowed 5 quarterback pressures from DeMarcus Lawrence in that game, and PFF had Evan Neal ranked as the 80th, I'm going to say worst offensive tackle in the entire league. Now, DeMarcus Lawrence has 10 sacks in 15 games against the New York Giants. So I think it's going to start up front in the trenches. And y'all know me, I'm glorified by the skill positions because I played the skill positions. I was a quarterback, wide receiver. So I'm infatuated with offense and skill positions for the most part. And you're never going to hear me talking about trenches for the most part. But in this particular game, if the Giants want to have a shot at this one, they're going to have to own the trenches. Now, we talked about DeMarcus Lawrence, who is technically on the weaker side of that defensive front, because we know Micah Parsons, 13.5 sacks last season. Now, will the Cowboys move Micah Parsons around? Because last time we matched up against them, they kept him right on Andrew Thomas on the left side for most of the game. So they were putting their best versus our best. And even though Micah Parsons is like a smaller stature edge rusher kind of type of player, he was showing power against Andrew Thomas. So Micah Parsons, we all know this dude is one of the best players, if not the best defensive player in the league. He's been the runner-up to the Defensive Player of the Year twice now. I know he's looking, he tweeted out that he's looking for a Super Bowl ring, but he's also probably looking for a Defensive Player of the Year as well. Now, Micah Parsons, he looks to join Reggie White as the only players with at least 13 sacks in each of their first 3 seasons. So these are ridiculous numbers to be even in the same conversation with a guy like Reggie White. Me and the Beard are old enough to have been able to watch Reggie White back in the day. He straight up terrorized offensive lines throughout pretty much his whole entire career. Now, the Cowboys defense, they allowed just 19.1 points per game last season. That's really good. We're going to have to find a way to put up more than 20 points in this game if we want to win this one. The Cowboys also led the league in takeaways, and they led the league in quarterback pressures. Guess who was dead last in the NFL with allowed quarterback pressures?
I'm going to say New York Giants.
The New York Giants. So we're definitely going to have to find a way to protect Daniel Jones in this game. I think Daniel Jones has gotten much better at getting rid of the ball. The way that he's decisive now, making his decisions. We saw a great outing in the preseason where he went 8 for 9, put the ball in the end zone. I'm looking for a drive to start the game off like that. The Cowboys added Stephon Gilmore as another cornerback over there to go to pair with Trayvon Diggs. This is going to be a nightmare matchup for the New York Giants. They're going to have to find a way to wake up from this dream and have the Dallas Cowboys apologizing, and walk away with this one with the victory. Now, the Giants need to find a way to stop the run. Last year, and I'm starting with the defenses because I got a ton to talk about with these offenses. But last year, the Giants were not good against the run. We ranked 26 in the entire league. We allowed, you talking about you want to get 110, 120 yards from your offense or from your running backs in Washington. Now, for us, we allowed 146 yards per game on the ground last year. That cannot happen this year. Now, you got Tony Pollard coming into this one, and Tony Pollard is going to be the main back. So we got to limit Tony Pollard. We know last year he made a ton of big plays, and we got to limit the big play. Tony Pollard, last year, Dallas ran for 345 yards in 2 games last season against the Giants. 821 total yards against our New York Giants. That is not a way to win games. That is not winning football from a defensive standpoint. I know we dealt with a lot of injuries last year. We lost to Dory Jackson for a little while. We lost Xavier McKinney when he flipped the ATV in Cabo and whatnot. And this year, we're coming into this year pretty damn healthy. But I am worried about another portion of that defense. I'm definitely going to get to that. Now, Tony Pollard, 5.2 yards per carry last year. That ranked 3rd in the NFL. And he averaged 5.9 yards per touch, which was number 1 in the NFL. He's coming off a major injury. I'm hoping that he can have a slow start to getting back right and whatnot. And then when he does get right, hopefully that's after this week. And we can find a way to limit him in this first matchup. The Giants got to find a way to get pressure on Dak Prescott. Now, some news came out this past, actually just today and this past week. Left guard Tyler Smith, he's dealing with an injury. And left tackle Tyron Smith. They got Tyler and Tyron Smith on. This is just ridiculous right here.
The Smith brothers. Mr. and Mr. Smith.
It's really ridiculous. And I saw Vach and William Steele was talking about this on their podcast. They're not that confident in the 2 other backups that are going to be filling in, especially in the interior of their offensive line. But they were confident enough to say that they could get through this Giants game with a couple of injuries here, and they're expecting a win. I even saw William Steele talk about this in his chat. When he was breaking down the game, he looked at the Giants fans that were in there pretty much like surprised at the takes and the way that they were going. Like, what do y'all expect from the Dallas Cowboys? You're talking about a quarterback on a 10-game winning streak, right? And you have a team that has dominated not only the NFC East, but truly have dominated the New York Giants. So they should be coming into this game confident. I'm not saying my New York Giants confidence should be wavered, but the Dallas Cowboys should be coming into this game extremely confident, especially with a healthy Dak Prescott. Now, you got the addition of Brandon Cooks on that offense to pair with CeeDee Lamb, and now Michael Gallup coming off of 1 year, 2 years now, we'll say, removed off the knee injury. You should see a better Michael Gallup. And I don't know if you remember how Michael Gallup torched the New York Giants last time. It was pretty embarrassing. So now that he's even more healthy, you should look for Michael Gallup to even play a bigger role in this offense. They still got Noah Brown out there as well. And they also got a young wide receiver. I can't remember his name, but a lot of people are high on this kid coming out of camp. Now, the Giants will be focused on stopping CeeDee Lamb, number 1, who's going to operate from the slot position. And that's why I think you've seen Adoree Jackson get moved to the slot cornerback entering this game. I don't know if that's going to be permanent or how long that's going to last, but I think it'll be on a case-by-case type of situation for Adoree Jackson. And this is the part that worries me. We're going to have 2 rookies out there on the outside. To me, that is, I won't say it's a recipe for disaster. I'm more confident in Deonte Banks, being that he was drafted extremely high. But with Trey, I'm just like, man, I don't know. This kid was drafted in the 6th round. I'm still sketchy about it. He made great plays in camp, and he earned that job. So I got to have some confidence in the kid. I saw Tiki Barber and his 2 co-hosts were talking about this on WFAN, and the co-host, he's like a producer, I guess. He popped in. I don't know his name or whatnot, but he was saying that the Seahawks had success with 2 rookie cornerbacks last year, and it kind of like quieted the argument that Tiki's co-host was making. I went in, I dug it up a little bit. They didn't have 2 rookies out there at cornerback last year with the Seattle Seahawks.
So rookie and a safety? Safety and a corner were rookies, I believe, for them?
I'm not sure about the safety situation, but I'm 1,000% sure on the cornerback situation. It was not 2 rookie cornerbacks. They had Tariq Woolen out there. They drafted Devin Witherspoon this year. So I don't know if he was getting that confused. And he mentioned another cornerback that was a 4th-year cornerback. So just wrong information across the board on that one. Now, Tariq Woolen has came out, and he's shown that he is a straight-up dog. Brandon Cooks, I'm worried about him now. I think he's going to be able to eat in this game. You're going to have Adoree in the slot trying to take care of CeeDee Lamb, but that's going to be an interesting matchup because CeeDee Lamb is a baller. I don't even know if Adoree Jackson is going to be able to really just hold down, CeeDee Lamb in this game. But Brandon Cooks is the one that worries me. He's trying to become the first NFL wide receiver to get a 1,000-yard season with 5 different teams.
That's crazy.
That really makes no sense. And that's one of my concerns, right? But I think that the other major concern for me is, the Dallas Cowboys lost their tight end to free agency, but a lot of people aren't talking about Jake Ferguson enough. I think that matchup is going to give the Giants problems, especially with all the other things going around that offense on the Dallas Cowboys that the New York Giants got to pay attention to. So it's gonna be up to Xavier McKinney, I think, to be able to step up and Bobby O to step up and take care of what Jake Ferguson brings to the table here as far as offensively. Now, Ferguson had his best game against the New York Giants last year, and that was as a backup tight end. He had 3 receptions for 57 yards versus the Giants. The Giants struggled against tight ends all last year. They gave up 106 receptions and 1,140 yards and 8 touchdowns to tight ends last year. So that's something I'm definitely worried about. Now, before I get off into my Dak Prescott bag and my Daniel Jones bag, what are you thinking about this game so I don't get too long-winded with my assessment of this one?
Well, it's funny because, you had something written down about the Commanders, and I have something written down that you mentioned, and that's Brandon Cooks. To me, that's going to be the X factor offensively for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm really curious to see how the Giants are going to defend Brandon Cooks because he's got speed. He's definitely got some speed, but he has a lot of versatility. There's a lot of things that Brandon Cooks can do. But to me, it's going to come down to how they defend Brandon Cooks. He was definitely on my paper. I also am curious to see, we talked a little bit about this in the stat and season prediction show on Tuesday. But I'm curious to see what the run-to-pass ratio is going to be for the New York Giants offense. That's one of the things that we're talking about things that we got our eyes on for this first week. And then obviously, as the weeks progress, it's a little bit easier for us to dissect the play on the field, the numbers, and those sort of situations. But for me, week 1, I'm really curious to see what that pass-to-run ratio is going to look like for the New York Giants. How much are they going to let Daniel Jones just go? That to me is what's going to be huge. Obviously, the Darren Waller situation is going to be on everybody's eyes because I'm on record as saying that to me is probably I'm a big Bieniemy as an offseason move, but player acquisitions, whether it's free agents or trade, to me is number 1 offseason move player-wise. Outside of the only one that I think can really compare as far as immediate impact would be Aaron Rodgers. Now, outside of that, Darren Waller to me
glad you brought that up.
is just I'm that high on Waller. If you guys have ever watched us talk about it on the parlay, when Waller's healthy, he is a Travis Kelce. He is a Mark Andrews. He is a George Kittle.
Yeah. I like George Kittle. I like that, but I can't put no one in that Travis Kelce class. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, we'll put Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes don't get to be in rankings, I guess, anymore. But so we'll say but he's up there, top 3, tight end when he's healthy.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Obviously that's something that I'm going to keep my eye on 100%. I think the turnover battle is going to be a deciding factor also because when we talk about the Cowboys and we talk about the Giants, no matter what year it is, no matter, what part of the season, we're always talking about turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Who can force the turnovers, who can, not have the turnovers. That's going to be a big,
These are
big
two teams
situation
on the
here.
opposite end of the spectrum, too. Dallas has led the league in takeaways for 2 straight seasons, and no one has
Which
done
is
that
so
since
hard.
1970.
Exactly.
That's
It's
how
just
long that's been. The New York Giants, when it comes to takeaways defensively, we're down at the bottom of the league.
like Washington.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, are the Giants going to be able to force some turnovers? And if they do let Daniel Jones loose, is he going to be able to continue what he was doing last year in protecting the ball? And to me, that's going to be a big.
What does your gut tell you
factor.
on that? As far as the season goes, you think when they let Daniel Jones loose that the turnovers are going to increase by a decent margin, or do you think he's going to be able to keep the interceptions down at least in single digits and fumbles as well? He only lost 2 fumbles last year and had 5 interceptions, so he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL when we're speaking on recent history here. Daniel Jones had the best touchdown interception ratio of any quarterback last year. His interception percentage was number 1. So, do you think he's going to be able to sustain that while they open up this offense that was 50-50 pass to run ratio last year?
I think he can, but to me, this is the thing that you have to look at, right? It's very easy to look at the interceptions being low when somebody's not passing as much as, some of the other quarterbacks are in this league. So by default, I think naturally, unless you're like a top 3 quarterback, the more passes that you throw, the more likelihood that your interception numbers are going to go up. I think as long as the ratio of touchdown to interceptions stays the same as last year, then it's not necessarily a problem.
For sure.
But
if you throw in 30 and you put up 10 interceptions, that's pretty much that. At 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions,
and
3-1.
I think that's where I would probably see Daniel Jones in this season. If he were to throw 30 touchdowns, I think he'll be around the 10 interception mark, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing.
I'm going more like 24-ish, 25. And I'm not going to give you like a Tiki Barber answer, right? Because Tiki Barber's answers be like this. Yeah, he can be a top 10 quarterback. He could be a top 5 quarterback, right? I'm going to tell you what I think Daniel Jones will do. I think he's going to increase the touchdowns, but I don't think that it's going to result in more turnovers. I don't. I think he's going to keep it at 3-1 pretty much for this entire season. I think he's going to probably be around 25 to 29 touchdowns, somewhere around there. I think that he has the weapons around him now to be able to do so. Mm-hmm. Last year, he did a great job taking care of the ball. The thing about Daniel Jones is he's not just going to wake up and start taking crazy risks.
Yeah.
He's still going to be that conservative style quarterback.
And I think that's the thing you mentioned too about the weapons is the last thing I had down on this for the New York Giants was I'm curious to see the rotation of the wideouts. I think that's something that's going to be very interesting because there is some depth at the wide receiver position for the New York Giants.
Now, they might only dress 5, which is really interesting, because Cole Beasley's dealing with an injury. They just brought in Cam Sims off the practice squad. I doubt he'll be dressed. So you're probably looking at Sterling Shepard, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt,
Slayton.
Did I say Darius? So Darius Hodgins, Sterling Shepard, Paris Campbell, and the 5th would be why am I losing the 5th right now? I can't remember who the 5th would be.
Where's Wandell? Is he
Wandell's the 6th receiver, I believe, that they kept on the roster. So I don't know if they're going to just throw him out there just yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. So
I think
I got Hyatt, Shepard, Slayton, Hodgins. I'm still just missing one, I feel like. Chat will help me out on that. I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one, but I think they're only dressing 5. So as far as depth goes, I don't know if they're going to have that depth in this game. But I do want to talk about this Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones type of matchup here because both of these players are under so much pressure this year.
Mm-hmm.
They both have to perform. Dak Prescott, now you got your second weapon. There's no complaints about we need more around Dak Prescott. And I remember when Trayvon Diggs said that at the end of last season, I was kind of like, what do you mean he needs more weapons? And then you really start to dissect the weapons. And outside of CeeDee Lamb, he didn't have great weapons last year. So Shepard, Slayton, Hodgins, Hyatt. I'm still missing one. Right? So I feel like I'm still missing one. I need that list like in front of me right now. But as far as Jones goes, right, I wanted to break down some of the games that he's played against the Dallas Cowboys. So Jones has played 5 full games against the Dallas Cowboys. He's been sacked 17 times within those games. 8 times he's been sacked in 2 games a year ago. So Slayton, Hodgins, Campbell. Every time I say Hodgins, I forget Campbell. That's what it is. So Slayton, Hodgins, Campbell, Shepard, Hyatt. Appreciate that. Mike Jones one time in the building. So 5 full games. Let's get back to this. 5 full games, 17 sacks in 5 full games. He sacked 8 times in 2 games. So the offensive line is definitely a big problem. You got to keep Daniel Jones upright. In 5 games versus Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones has 2 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions in those games. He's averaging 34 attempts in those 5 games, but just 217 passing yards. I know how you were talking about, man, it's easy to get to 225 passing yards. This dude has thrown it 34 times on average in those games, only averaging 217 passing yards. That's 6 yards per attempt. That's not going to get it done. I think a lot of that has to do with what's happening up front with the offensive line, and also we could blame some of what happened with the weapons last year, obviously. Last year, he averaged 36 passes in the 2 games versus the Dallas Cowboys. He averaged 28 attempts in every other game in the other 14 games. So, because he didn't play the last week of the season. Last game against the in the 2020 regular season finale, Jones went 17-25 for 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like, that was probably his best game against the Dallas Cowboys, to be honest. A lot of people will look back at some of those, like, punishing losses that we had in the recent losses, but I think that was probably his best game. And I can remember a throw on the sideline that Daniel Jones made where he rolled all the way to his left and threw the ball on the sidelines, very similar to the Isaiah Hodgins reception in the playoffs against the Minnesota Vikings, toe tap right on this perfect throw. And I was like, oh, Daniel, I added that to the repertoire. Like, Daniel can make that throw as well. To me, that kind of rounded Daniel Jones off as being a quarterback who can pretty much make all the throws. Now, 28 explosive pass plays for the New York Giants last year. Where do you think that ranked?
I'm going to say 28th.
Dead last. 32nd in the NFL. And I just think that when you talk about the quarterback matchups across the league and whatnot, when we do top 10 conversations and things like that, you got to take into consideration, obviously, a quarterback's weapons. Tiki Barber said something on WFAN on this same podcast I watched that I thought was a little wild. He said, I would take Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott 100 out of 100 times. Now, he talked about this going into the future a little bit, kind of cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, backtracked a little.
Now, I don't know if you could do that because, yes, we know that Daniel Jones has not had the weapons around him and whatnot, and he's definitely dragging this team along with him. He's had the good weapon at the running back position when healthy, obviously. But that's about it. And Dak Prescott, throughout the majority of his career, has had a stable running game, stable wide receivers, obviously a stable offensive line. And last year was the first time we really got to see Dak Prescott without those major weapons, and his numbers really took a hit, and we saw that. It kind of reminded me of Aaron Rodgers. When you removed Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers' numbers kind of went back down to, now I wouldn't say pedestrian, but for Aaron Rodgers, they were definitely not the numbers we're used to. Now, Daniel Jones, I got to end this with a positive one for Daniel Jones here. He did play well at home last year. 16 total touchdowns when you include the rushing ones, which I'm going to always do when I talk about Daniel Jones' touchdowns, so y'all don't come for me. And just 3 interceptions last year at MetLife. So he does play well. That gives me some confidence with the home crowd there. They're doing the whole blue out. Everybody's going to be in blue.
He got his first win in prime time last year,
And
right?
he got his first win in prime time last year, sitting at 1-11. I would love to see him increase that primetime record. I think Daniel Jones now is a much more confident, he has a little bit of moxie to him now. Today he was on the Kay Adams podcast on YouTube. I recommend all y'all subscribe to that. He's going to be on that podcast every Tuesday after the games, breaking down what he saw, what he went through and all that. That's going to be great insight for New York Giants fans. But during that interview, he just seemed like a much more relaxed guy. The stuttering Daniel Jones that you got in the press conferences and whatnot, twisting the beer hairs and doing all that stuff. He's not doing that. He seems like a much more confident quarterback. You can tell he bulked up and he hit the weight room as well. And I think Daniel Jones is going to go out here and show you that he is still on the incline as a quarterback. A lot of people who saw my top 10 video that I released, I did not have Daniel Jones in the top 10, and a lot of people had beef with that, not agreeing with what Greg Jennings has said on FS1. I just think that what Greg Jennings is projecting here is that Daniel Jones is going to be a top 10 quarterback, and that is my expectation this year with the new weapons and with the maturation of what Daniel Jones has done. So I'm expecting Daniel Jones to come out here Sunday night, put this team on his back, make this a competitive game here, and show that we are closing the gap with the Dallas Cowboys. And if not closing it, we're going to close it on Sunday night. We shall see. Now, the things that I question, you brought up Darren Waller. I'm questioning the impact of Darren Waller. A lot of people, when I posted the stat video that we did, when they saw my numbers for Darren Waller, I believe it was like around 800 yards. I had him for 4 touchdowns, and I had him at like 75 receptions. People were like, if he stays healthy, he's going to get 1,000 yards. And this is the word that I cannot stand that people use on Twitter. Easily. What the hell you mean easily? Nothing
Ain't
comes
nothing
easy in the NFL.
NFL.
There's no easy in the NFL. Yo, when you say easily, you know how confident you look and how condescending you look? So for me, I don't think just staying healthy throughout the whole entire season is not going to be anything easily for Darren Waller. This dude has been hurt the last 2 seasons. He's missed 14 games over the last 2 years. He has been a quiet tight end when it comes to productivity from that position from the past 2 years. That's the bottom line. He has 1 season where he has 9 touchdowns. People are telling me, oh, he's going to get 10 touchdowns easily. He's had 1 season with 9 touchdowns. When you remove that 1 season, he has not breached 3 touchdowns in 1 single season. So don't tell me easily. I'm not saying that this stuff cannot happen, but when you say easily, I got to look at you a little bit sideways and give you some Keenan looks. For real, I got to keep it funky with you. The other thing I got to think about here is, how will Tony Pollard fare without Zeke Elliott? Does he have the capability to be the main running back out there? Can Jalen Hyatt come out here and take the top off the Dallas Cowboys defense week 1? I think we're going to need it. If you look back at the last matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, you will remember that Darius Slayton had the big plays down the field against the Dallas Cowboys where he had a 50-50 ball. He jumped up and grabbed, got us right down to the goal line, set us up for a touchdown, and we still did not manage to win that game. So I think it's going to take at least 2 explosive plays in the passing game for the New York Giants to have a chance in this one. I also got to think about, will Daniel Jones raise his level of play now that he has the weapons? This is the answer that everyone is waiting for. You know, and I get people who come into my comments on Twitter and they're like, you're wrong on Daniel Jones not being elite. Well, I'm like, show me the proof. Because right now I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. He's an above-average quarterback for sure. He can go out there and he can win you games. And honestly, that's all you can ask for in the NFL, because these other guys out here who are in the elite category, which I might have definitely not over one hand, I'm counting that on as elite quarterbacks in the NFL, there's probably 2 or 3 guys on that list. I don't look at Lamar Jackson as an elite quarterback right now. I don't look at Jalen Hurts as an elite quarterback right now after 1 season. I look at my man Patrick Mahomes. I look at Aaron Rodgers, and I kind of want to put Josh Allen in that mix. I don't think Joe Burrow's an elite quarterback yet either. I think he's got a lot more to prove.
2 seasons.
He's gave you 2 seasons, but to me, 2 seasons doesn't warrant elite. But everybody does have their own, definition of elite, just like for franchise quarterbacks. So I respect that. I definitely respect that. I'm not here to try to change nobody's opinion. I'm only here to try to state my own. Now, the other thing is, I'm looking for the same formula that you're looking for, the Beard. I need an early lead from my New York Giants. We cannot be playing from behind in this game. If you put the ball in Daniel Jones' hands from behind against the Dallas Cowboys, that's going to force him to throw the ball, and I think that's going to force him to throw an interception or make a mistake, which we've seen in the last 2 outings against Dak Prescott. So I'm looking to get the early lead. Put the pressure on the Dallas Cowboys. Get them down by 2 scores. Try to see that window and then put the nail in the coffin on them, right? Enter the 3rd quarter with a lead in this game, and I think Brian Daboll is going to do everything in his power to put this game away from a coaching standpoint. Now, I still think that this offense is going to operate through one man, to be honest. I think it starts with one man. I don't think he's going to be the only person out there doing damage as far as offensively goes, but I think it all still has to run through my man Saquon Barkley. I really do. And let's take a look at the numbers versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I did remove the game where Saquon Barkley got injured early in the first half, where he turned his ankle in that game against the Dallas Cowboys, to come up with these numbers here. And I just want to get the exact game numbers. It's in 7 games against the Dallas Cowboys where Saquon Barkley does not have a win against the Dallas Cowboys, obviously because Dak Prescott has been 10-0 the last couple of outings here. So Saquon, to me, he's averaging 83.5 rushing yards per game against the Cowboys, 4.5 yards per rush, but this is the number that bothers me. The attempts per game is just not high enough. 13.2 tells me that the New York Giants are falling behind on the scoreboard early in these games, and they're forced to throw the ball, and that's when the New York Giants are not as dangerous as I feel like they could be, especially with the new weapons that have been brought in. Saquon Barkley has not had a 100-yard rushing game against the Dallas Cowboys since 2019. So we got to find a way to fix that. Last year, my beef with the coaching staff was in the first half of games, they wouldn't run the ball. They were trying to save so much gas for the second half that Saquon Barkley would have games where he only had 4 touches in the first half, which you could look at the Philadelphia Eagles playoff massacre as one of those games. He only had 9 carries in that game, and he only had 9 carries against the Minnesota Vikings as well. I want to get back to the identity, which is Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and the read option. I do want to use that as our identity again. Be able to use this RPO to open up guys like Darren Waller down the field and set up those one-on-one matchups, but I still think it's going to run through my man Saquon Barkley. So we got to find a way to get that attempt number over 15 for me at least. The Beard be wanting 30 as a unit, right? I don't know what's going to happen as far as the backup running backs go for New York, But for my man Saquon Barkley, get him over at least 15 carries on the day. And I think we'll have a shot at winning this game.
What about receptions?
Receptions, you could go, man, for 4. I'll settle for 4.
They
Modest
want 15,
4.
They want 15 rush attempts and 10 catches in the chat.
I mean, 10 catches would be a little bit wild. 10 catches, you add that up through a 17-game season. Good luck. That's going to be a lot of receptions. I'm looking at give me 4 receptions. Give me about 7 targets, 6 targets on the day. If you got to check the ball down, check the ball down. I'm looking for Daniel Jones to be safe in this game. So if that, presents the opportunity where Saquon Barkley will get some more attempts in the passing game, then that's cool with me too. But this is to me, a lot of people have been trying to dismiss this, right? Oh, it's okay if the Giants go out there and they lose this one, It's not.
Losing
because
is not okay no matter what.
This is our first divisional game of the year. We don't have another divisional game until we come to see them Washington Commanders. We're going to welcome them up there to MetLife week 7. So we got to go 6 more weeks without playing another division game. You better jump on it. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are going to come out here ready to go. With a win on Sunday, Prescott will tie Danny White for 4th most wins amongst all quarterbacks in Cowboys history. I'm sure he's looking to
prime
etch his
time
name in the
too.
history books
Prime
a little bit
time.
more.
We're talking prime time. The world is going to be watching.
Yeah.
There's going to be no matter what outcome this game has, and you talked about it, the pressure that these two quarterbacks are on. No matter what happens in this game, Monday morning, somebody's going to be on the wrong side of that bed when it comes to the conversations. Unless both quarterbacks, we go and it's like a 42-41 and, nobody throws any interceptions and they put up these gaudy numbers, that would be the only scenario. But if there is any slip-ups from either one of these quarterbacks on prime time Sunday night football,
it's going to be all over your TV screen on Monday.
All
over.
All over.
Now, before we close this one out, let's go to a couple over-unders here before we give our predictions on the game and whatnot. Let's start with Dak Prescott because we know that the whole topic of conversation here after leading the league in interceptions is Dak Prescott going to come out here and throw an interception? I thought about putting this at 1.5, but I said, man, let's just, try to see if he can present a clean slate here entering the 2023 season. Chat, what do y'all think about Dak Prescott over or under 0.5 interceptions? Do you think he's going to throw one? Do you think he's going to finish this game without throwing one? Maybe a 41-42 win for the New York Giants, and Dak Prescott doesn't throw an interception. Chat, let me know what y'all thinking. Beard, how you feeling about this one?
Oh, you already know where I'm going. I'm going with the big O.
You're going right towards the hate?
Over. Yeah. I'm taking the over for sure. And listen, this isn't even necessarily just on Dak, but I don't know this number for sure, so don't quote me on it, okay? But I'm just going off of, hypothetical, the way that the Beard's brain works. Is I bet you that there is more interceptions thrown in week 1 historically in the NFL than there are any other weeks in a season.
Oh, I got to go check that out. I'm going to definitely do some digging on that. That's a good one. That's a good little project to do some digging on. I always like those, man, do a lot of research and whatnot. I'm going to take the under on this one. I think, when you come out there and there's an emphasis on, bro, don't throw no interceptions. This is like Daniel Jones. Like, after 2019, bro, don't fumble the ball, bro. So you're going to go out there. You're going to be conscious of it. I think Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are going to rely on the run, too. I think another thing to consider here as well is what kind of formations are the Dallas Cowboys going to come out in with Mike McCarthy calling the plays now? When he was in Green Bay and he was operating with Aaron Rodgers out there as quarterback, they ran a lot of 11 personnel. So they spread people out and try to run it from a single back kind of, set and whatnot. So I don't know what they're going to do here. There's a bit of a mystery as to what Mike McCarthy is going to do as far as calling these plays offensively. And best believe if Mike McCarthy comes out here and falls flat, he's going to get a ton of blame and he's going to be on the hot seat week 1 right off the bat.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? This kind of brings everything back a little bit full circle with Zeke and Pollard. How has Tony Pollard, because I love Tony Pollard as a running back. He's explosive. The guy can do tons of stuff. How has he improved his his pass blocking? And how much is that going to affect the Dallas Cowboys offense and Dak not
Very
having
important.
Zeke to be back there doing the pass protection from the running back position?
He was getting pushed around for sure. And while we wait for some of these answers to come in about the over-under, let's get to some of these super chats one time, man. Shout out to homie Crypto Moves.
Crypto Moves with a $4.20. That's cryptic. Super chat says, welcome back in the building. Ready to smoke that Dallas pack.
Yeah, that in the building, I might want to copyright that thing and patent that thing, because I remember somebody last year was like, I'm going to count how many times my man Awthentik says in the building during this stream. It had to be about a good 40, 45, because Giants Nation, y'all know how we do. We in the building, man. That's how we do. And we got one more from the homie OBX Picker. Shout out to gang.
Big shout out to my guy, OBX Picker, with a $1.99 super chat. Says, what's up, fellas? Fins up. Shout out to our boy Lucas, too. He's also a Dolphins fan. It's always good to see all these people come from different fan bases. You know, Joe Deals being in the building. He's a Bears fan. You know, so we get some Texans fans in here. You know, we get some Jaguars fans in here. That might just be me I'm talking about, but, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, you low-key a Jaguars, Bengals, Texans. You low-key root for all those teams. I only root for one squad, the NFL. One squad and one squad only, them New York Giants. Y'all know what it is, man. All right, I got one more over-under. We are pushing up against this clock one time. We definitely want to get y'all out of here before kickoff. I think my fantasy lineup is all good to go and all set. Travis Kelce not playing in this game. That's going to be kind of tough. What you think about this over-under right here for the homie Daniel Jones, over 212.5 passing yards one time? Chat, let me know what y'all think, too.
Well, for me, you know, the way I got this game kind of ending up, 212, that's a $1.06 in each half, $1.07. I'm going to go over. Over. Just over.
I'm right there with you. I'm right
just
there with
over.
you, man. I'm definitely going
215
on
to
the over.
225, I think.
He's going to have to pass the ball to keep up with what I'm expecting from the Dallas Cowboys, which is going to be a lot of offense, man. I think Cowboys are going to put up 24 points in this game. So if the Giants want to try to win this one, you better breach that 24, 1,000%. Y'all know what it is. All right, Beard, let's get off into this, man. We're going to get off into this Chiefs and Lions matchup.
We got to give our winners.
We do got to give our winners. I was trying to avoid that, bro.
I know you were.
Damn.
Because
how you do that to me?
Because on Tuesday you was talking about
yeah, and I saw what you was talking about. You like Giants fans gonna like my pick. I know who you going with. All right, tell them who you going with one time.
We're gonna start off the Dallas hate bright and early here at Awthentik and The Beard. I'm gonna take the New York Football Giants to put an end to all those tens Awthentik was talking about.
Them tens and them tens.
All them tens. We're going to put an end to all the tens.
I keep them clean, though.
It's going to be 23-21 New York Giants take the win.
Too low, man. Too low.
It's
21 points from the Dallas Cowboys
man.
week one. You know, the Dallas Cowboys have not fared well opening day for the past couple of years, too, man. They had a bad performance last year.
Tough opening games.
Yeah, they saw the Bucs in 2020, I remember. Yeah. You know what, man? There's no way I'm going to let the Beard pick my New York Giants, and I'm going to not pick my New York Giants. So y'all know what it is. I'm going with the game, man. That's what's up. We need this win. Week one, you got to be confident. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it's going to be, can the Giants put up 30 points week one? That would be pretty interesting. I don't think we'll quite get to 30. I'm going to go.
There's a lot of people in the chat that think so.
I'm going to go with a close, tight game. I'm going 26-24 New York Giants.
I like that. That's like a origami score right there.
You know them 27s and them 24s don't never hit. Every time I pick them, they don't hit. They definitely don't hit. All right, y'all. So now that the Beard forced me into picking this game, I was going to try to just squeak out of here like, man, I didn't pick the game. So, you know, a tie, 24-24. But the Beard called me out on that, so we definitely had to do that. Let's get off into this Chiefs matchup versus the Lions one time, man. And, then we'll close out and get y'all out of here, hopefully, before kickoff. We're going to make this one really quick, yo. Y'all, real quick here, man, for the Chiefs. They're going to be welcoming the Detroit Lions to Kansas City, man. This is a tough week one matchup for the Detroit Lions here one time. They were 9-8 last year. The Kansas City Chiefs were 14-3. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m., so we got 1 minute before we get y'all out of here. Is Amazon not doing the Thursday night games? Because I'm seeing NBC on what I saw.
NBC, but I don't know if that's just because it's the opening game and maybe that's the deal.
If Amazon doing it, it would be tonight, but sometimes they do a dual broadcast. I really hope Amazon is doing it because I like their broadcast. They give you the next-gen stats and all that stuff. In the last meeting, the Chiefs beat the Lions 34-30. That was in 2019 in Detroit. Travis Kelce is out. It's probably too late if you're just getting that information here. If you had him in your starting fantasy lineups, I definitely removed him from mine. I hope I hit submit I
You've
definitely
done
don't want to have that
before
dud.
on more than one occasion.
You know how I be. That's why I don't really like the Thursday show, man. I'll be rushing playing up against the clock one time. But Kelce has caught a pass in 143 straight games. It's the longest streak in Kansas City history. He needs 5 touchdown receptions to pass Tony Gonzalez. That won't happen tonight for second in club history. Now, Kansas City is 9-1 under Andy Reid in season openers, so I'm pretty much expecting them to get this dub tonight. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 18 touchdown passes without an interception in his openers. Golly, that's crazy. So good luck trying to stop them tonight. Not having Travis Kelce should help the Detroit Lions just a little bit. The Lions have not beaten Kansas City since 2011. And when they did beat them, they beat the damn brakes off the Chiefs. It was 48-3. Detroit finished with the winning record for the first time since 2017. Detroit is struggling. They only have one playoff victory since 1957. Could you imagine?
No.
Could you imagine? And that last playoff victory was in 1992. Oh, my God, that's crazy. Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes last faced each other in 2018 when the Rams beat the Chiefs 54-51. It's the third highest scoring game in NFL history.
Right?
I can't remember where it was. I don't got those details. These nuggets did not come with sauce on the side. They just dry nuggets. You're going to have to go look that one up yourself. Jared Goff is riding a streak of 9 starts and 324 passes without an interception. And people still be trying to throw dirt on Jared Goff's name. I don't get it. And you got to watch out for Aiden Hutchinson in this one. He led all rookies last year with 9.5 sacks. There was another rookie on that team, too, that had over 8 sacks. Can't remember who it was. 2 rookies on that team, over 8 sacks last season. So I'm looking for that pass rush to get after Patrick Mahomes and make this a good Thursday night game. I think a sneaky play here, and I wish I would have got you this information earlier, Jerick McKinnon. He's got a touchdown in 6 straight games. If he scores a touchdown tonight, he'll tie Dwayne Bowe for the franchise record as far as how many games in a row with a touchdown. And we all know Amon-Ra St. Brown, definitely a baller. Patrick Mahomes, back-to-back MVP winner. He threw for a franchise record 5,250 yards last season while leading the NFL with 41 touchdown passes. 31 of those touchdown passes were under 10 air yards. I'm hoping that, Brian Dable's listening. He can apply this to my man Daniel Jones. But Patrick Mahomes is definitely going to be extremely tough to stop. The Chiefs led the NFL with 7,032 yards of offense and 61 touchdowns last year, but Detroit was third. They had 6,460 yards, and they were fourth in touchdowns with 54. So also keep your eyes on the rookie wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, especially with Travis Kelce out. My man, Rashee Rice, and Justin Ross, man, great story coming back after a terrible injury coming out of college. Both of those guys, I think you should keep your eye on tonight. And my man, Kadarius Toney, I think has a chance to make some plays, who will be dressed. Beard, let's just keep it short and sweet, man. What you think and who you got winning this game?
Well, also keep an eye out on Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore has a big game tonight. And
plugged in a lot of lineups.
I'm excited to see Jahmyr Gibbs. The Lions drafted him in the first round when they needed a lot of defensive help. So I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to fill the role of DeAndre Swift. Obviously, David Montgomery is also there. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Who's going to be the number 2 target for the Detroit Lions, I think, is the biggest question right now in that entire team, because we know the Sun God, he's good, but what's next? That's the big question.
Don't be throwing dirt on my guy Khalif Raymond. Raymond was the second leading wide receiver for the Detroit Lions last season. Nobody talked about it. He was cut from the Giants practice squad a couple of years ago, and he's definitely producing over there.
So he's gonna have to produce tonight. But I like the Chiefs. I think this game is gonna be entertaining and close. Maybe not as high scoring as I think some people think. Williams will be number 2, but he's out for 6 weeks. He's suspended for 6 weeks, so he won't be there tonight. I'm gonna go Kansas City Chiefs 27, Detroit Lions 24.
27-24. We've picked every game the same, so I just got to break that. I'm going to take the Lions in an upset. Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions in an upset. No Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes, I know that the 18 openers or whatever it was, the 18 touchdowns in all of his openers, that is ridiculous, right? Hopefully Jared Goff can come out here. Maybe they're gelling a little bit more with the Kansas City Chiefs missing their number 1 weapon, and I'll feel a lot better about it, with my guy not in my fantasy lineup. Watch the Detroit Lions go out here and get a victory. We'll see how it goes. I'd say score-wise, I think it'll be pretty high scoring. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to win this one 31-28.
That'll be a good game. That would definitely be a good
Game. All right, y'all. We tried to get y'all out of here, man. It was a jam-packed show. A lot of information. We appreciate all of y'all that stuck around, man, even while kickoff is happening right now. Appreciate everybody who pulled up in the building. Shout out to all the trivia winners tonight, man. We'll get y'all stuff sent out. Don't forget to send us either an email at Awthentik@allornothingstudios.com or reach out to the Beard on Twitter at TimWalkOnWater2 or me on Twitter as well at Awthentik, the way I spell it, man. Funky. Y'all know what it is, man. Every time we end these shows, we try to leave them with a positive vibe here. Best of luck to all of y'all teams this week. Unless you playing up against my New York Giants, I don't give a goddamn.
Spike don't care.
But keep raising that bar, man. Keep living those dreams. I'm going to keep trying to do that myself. I try to remind myself this every day when I wake up, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, my man Combat Jack. I'm working on some stuff here. Don't forget to pull up on Monday for the Giant Overreaction at 1 p.m. It's going to be on straight fire.
Sunday
Until
morning,
then,
11 o'clock, parlay.
Sunday morning, we're definitely going to pull up for the parlay. Friday, make sure to check us out on Professor O's channel as well, man. Until then, man, y'all know what it is. Enjoy these games, man. We will catch y'all for the next one. We appreciate y'all time tonight, man. We really do appreciate y'all time. Y'all be good, man. Peace.
Spike don't care.